Okay, number 2. I couldn't finish it. The first one, I think it cut me off. Okay, so we were in Isaiah 5. So number 2, it says, this is what made me so weepy this morning. I was in chapter 5, and starting in verse 18 is where the people are mocking God, right? This is the nation of Israel who are doing their own thing, and they're mocking God. So I'm just going to repeat this part that I just read in the last video. It says, woe to those who draw, this is starting in verse 18, woe to those who draw iniquity with cords of vanity and sin as if with a cart rope. So they're doing all they can to draw in sin and iniquity, right? They're just using carts to bring it in. They're using ropes. They're just totally reveling in it. And then they say, let him, now this is the people talking about God, they're mocking God. Let him make speed and hasten his work, that we may see it. And let the counsel of the Holy One of Israel draw near and come, that we may know it. And then it says, woe to those who call, now this is Isaiah and God. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Now let me read to you what my study Bible said about that verse, 21. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight, because it's pretty powerful. It says, at the root of the moral, social, and theological corruption denounced in this prophecy of being wise in one's own eyes, an insensitive, arrogant egotism. So this is what they're saying here is that this verse, woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight, are the reason everything is falling apart and you're seeing all of this perversion, is because this verse sums it up, right? They had turned completely away from God, and they were completely and totally relying on themselves and just doing whatever the heck they wanted. And then it goes on to verse 22. Woe to men mighty at drinking wine. Woe to men valiant for mixing intoxicating drinks. Okay, this is what the mighty are doing. Okay, so remember back when we were looking at Chronicles and King David and his mighty men, this is not mighty. And this is, how are they going to protect? So instead of being mighty at war and mighty at protection and doing the things that they should be, training and preparing to protect, they're mighty at drinking wine, and they're valiant for mixing intoxicating drinks. So everything is just perverted. Who justify the wicked for a bribe and take away justice from the righteous man. So here again, we see bribes and money and the inability for the society to function correctly because everything is being done in secret, right? Things are being perverted, and the righteous man is being taken advantage of. It says, and take away justice from the righteous man. Wonder where we're seeing that. Okay, then it says in 24, therefore, as the fire devours the stubble and the flame consumes the chaff, so their root will be as rottenness, and their blossom will ascend like dust. So whatever it is that they are trusting in, their root is completely rotten, because their root should be based on God, on ultimately Jesus Christ for us. But they had turned away from God and his righteousness, so their root is rottenness, and the things that will blossom will be like dust. So instead of everything, their fruit being great and positive, it's going to be negative in all ways, because the Lord is also talking about their physical fruit, right? The fruit of the land. And it says, because they rejected the law of the Lord of hosts and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel. Then it goes on to say, now this is a cool section. It says 25, therefore the anger of the Lord is aroused against his people. He has stretched out his hand, right? He stretched out his hand. I'm trying to show you his hand against them and stricken them. The hand, usually you see all throughout the Bible, the hand of God is being reached out as in a positive way, right? But here he says, he has stretched out his hand against them and stricken them. And the hills trembled. Their carcasses were as refuse in the midst of the street. So that's a prophetic verse for what's coming with Assyria. But what's interesting again is you see him, like I said, he's reaching out his hand for judgment instead of blessing. And the hills trembled, right? So everything is such a mess. But nature is a witness against what's happening. The people should be trembling over this prophecy, but the hills are trembling, right? And then what's awesome is this next verse at the end of, is it 25? It says, For all this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. So you see that God, no matter if these people would turn, he would love to, be a part of their life again. But so he still has his hand outstretched. Excuse me. And his anger is not turned away. For all this anger, but they are just still not responding. So here in verse 26 through 30, you see God calling forth the Assyrians and the people that he's going to utilize in his judgment. And so it says, 26, he will lift up a banner to the nations from afar and will whistle to them from the end of the earth. Surely they shall come with speed and swiftly. No one will be weary or stumble among them. So unlike what you're seeing in Israel, no one will slumber or sleep like what you're seeing in Israel. Nor will the belt of their loins be loosed. So the people in Israel are not dressed. They're not wearing the correct clothing. They're not covered with God's presence. Nor the strap of their sandals be broken. Not ready. What do you use when you walk? Your walk is wearing, sandals, and your feet represent your walk and your walk with God. So their straps, their sandals aren't going to be broken. They're going to be doing what God has drawn them in and having them do. Their arrows are sharp and all their bows bent. Their horses' hooves will seem like flint and their wheels like a whirlwind. They're prepared. Their roaring will be like a lion, and they will roar like young lions. Yes, they will roar and lay hold of the prey. They will carry it away safely, and no one will deliver. It was common for people when people would come in, the people that they didn't carry, of course, they would take away and resettle them in other lands and take them as slaves. In that day they will roar against them like the roaring of the sea, and if one looks to the land, behold, darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened by the clouds. There's going to be so many of them that it's going to be like a cloud. Okay, so there you have it. So that was chapter 5. It's pretty awesome. Chapter 6 is amazing. I'm going to do a separate video just for chapter 6. I'm so sorry. So I just can't get through one in this 10-minute section. So I'm going to do chapter 6 here in just a moment. So love you. Read your Bible. Jesus is coming. Bye.